Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking with platinum recording artist, rapper, singer, and songwriter 24kGoldn. Let's go.
Smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times. I don't want to have bad.
So let's talk about you. You're 23. 23. Okay,
Yeah.
young as shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good though.
Yeah, I think so.
Because think about what you've accomplished at 23, which you may likely your personality type says to you, I haven't accomplished what I want.
For sure.
Right?
I think, yeah, it's never to be an artist is to constantly like want more, at least for me.
Yeah.
In a certain that's part of it. That's part of it for sure.
Yeah, that's, I think, natural.
Yeah.
Because to also be an artist that survives,
Yeah.
because that's another part of what it means to have a career is to be resilient.
Yes.
And just keep going forward. You know, results are funny because we'll judge results in any moment, and we'll kind of sum up everything by the result of that one thing we did instead of like zoom out
Yeah.
and go like, look where we're at, look where we were.
Yeah.
Right? Overall, we're successful.
Yes.
We didn't get the result we wanted on this album or this song or this whatever, this show, this tour, whatever. So we can measure all kinds of results. I always have to remind myself, and I didn't get good at this till I was older, to not judge results because we don't know if they're good or bad, even though they may not be what we wanted at the time. There is kind of like the spiritual side of what we do, like the transcendent side.
Yeah.
There's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I don't know if you're religious or spiritual, but God's plan.
Yeah.
Or the idea of God's plan, if you don't believe in God.
Like, what if you did get that thing that you wanted and it ruined you?
Yeah, would it have been good for you?
Yeah.
Like I think about that all the time. Like I'm happy with my career.
I think you had a great career.
I liked it.
Judging by all the plaques in the magazine covers I
Plaques,
saw
that
walking
stuff,
in.
those are byproducts that remind you.
Yeah.
They're like tokens.
Yeah.
But the natural drive that we have, because I think that I think that artists that choose to do it professionally is different than an artist who doesn't do it professionally.
Yeah, I think anybody could be an artist, no
Yes.
matter if you sell 0 records or if you sell fucking 1 billion records. It's just, as long as you're making art, you're an artist, right? But like you said, to do it professionally is
Different.
a whole nother beast in itself.
It's the difference.
Yeah,
So we all knew the guy that was an amazing artist
yeah,
or an amazing ball player,
yeah,
and then he didn't become a pro.
yeah,
So why? Well, we could probably break apart all the decisions he made, and some it's sad stories and all kinds of things. But there's a thing you choose. You for whatever. When you got started, you were a teenager, probably what, like 17?
Like
16?
First song I made, I was like 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
15. So that's the start. That counts. You went forward, and you chose that over things.
Yeah,
Constantly.
yeah,
And you probably haven't even thought about it, but you could probably look back and track moments where you said, no, I'm going to do this instead. No, I'm going to do this instead. And you wanted that more than any of those things. And it could have been, and I have the same experience. I started at 15 and constantly chose the idea that I could make it doing this over a lot of other things that could have
That you could have
sidetracked
been
me.
good at too.
Maybe. Or they could have just harmed me.
Yeah, true.
Because they were like, maybe they looked like fun, or maybe it was what everyone else was doing. It's not all good, not all bad, but we chose that. And there's like this internal drive that you have. So it's kind of like a baller mentality.
Yeah. What do you mean by that baller mentality?
Like I always say ballers, like somebody that wants the ball. Put me in the game, put
Like
me in the
Kobe,
game,
like-
put me in the game.
You give me the ball, I'm gonna shoot it.
And when I'm not in the game, I'm going to be in the gym.
Yeah,
And 24/7, I'm thinking about greatness.
yeah,
And I think there's something, whether we admit it or not, because we also like don't, it's not always cool to admit out in front of everybody when you want something that you don't have yet.
yeah.
We're supposed to pretend like we have it already.
Or that, oh, I didn't want it anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think for a long time, for a really long time, there was always kind of this like people thinking that it's cool to not try.
Right.
I think trying is like one of the coolest things you could do, whether you get what you want in the timeline that you think you should have it or not. Like that resilience and that persistence, like I really admire and respect that just as much as whatever result you might get from that.
Yeah. So that's to me the drive.
I remember when I was in college, I had like a bunch of friends that were pre-med and freshman year. And by the end of it, like 75% of them were like, fuck this organic chemistry class, or like,
Yeah.
fuck this Calc 3 class.
I'm out.
It's that same thing of like, yo, if you really want it, all right, let's see.
And that's how it weeds out the real ones who become the doctors and the scientists and the, you know,
Ballers.
they had to show up to those boring or painful or hard classes. And that's the same in music. You could quit a bunch of times that you didn't get the result you wanted. Mm-hmm. But I would bet you got enough of a result that it kept you coming back, that you're like, because it wasn't a no, it was a yes, but it wasn't the kind of maybe the yes you wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that, let me know if you disagree.
Okay.
My personal belief is that, it's very, very optimistic one, is that if you keep learning and growing at whatever it is that you want to do, eventually you have to get some sort of like success from it, even if it's after you pass, like on some Van Gogh type shit.
Yeah. Yeah, some version.
Yeah, some version of it.
Yeah. Where do you think you got that idea from? Because I agree with you.
I think I got it from my parents.
Right.
Like my dad especially, you know, he loves writing, like screenplays, movies. He's been working at it for like 20 years of just writing and putting in those hours. And he's had like a lot of yeses, but not the yeses that he might have necessarily wanted in that time. But he's still doing it. And it's, like you said, enough to keep him going.
Yeah. Because you do hear those stories of the guy who wrote his whole life. And then in an older age, it's like wine.
Yeah.
It like matured.
Because you're only going to get better, hopefully, unless you're like fucking off and not really doing the work.
Yeah, it is. It's like the classic acorn becomes an oak tree. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like sometimes with businesses, because me and my brother, we build stuff. Mm-hmm. It's more like an apple tree. It takes like 5 years to get apples. But then once you have apples, if you protect the tree, you let it grow, you have apples forever. Mm-hmm. And with businesses, I've found usually it's like 3 to 7 years, something in there. So 5 years is a good number. It's like a natural growth process, but could be the same with music. Like you don't know if everything you've done to this point, because you've had hits, you've had big songs, but you actually don't know if you've done the work you'll be remembered for.
Yeah.
I suspect you haven't, to be honest.
I've always had this feeling, even before there was like a lot of success in music,
Yeah.
that the thing that I'm ultimately going to be known for at the end of the day, I have a feeling it's not going to be like music related at all necessarily.
You might be right.
I think that'll be part of the story and a big part of the story. But like, I don't know. I always had this inkling of like a feeling like, nah, it's going to be something more.
Yep. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I've lived enough of a career, 30 years, to know that like times change, things change. And I've seen enough people. I only knew them as the person that was trying to do that the whole time I saw them over there trying to make it. Mm-hmm. And then they made it over here in some other way, and everyone knows them in a different way. And it's interesting because like it's the discovery process of trying, which is why trying is important. It's interesting. I think that's exactly how I feel about, well, it's not just me, it's my brother. We do everything together. But about all the things we do, we don't know which one's more important.
Yeah.
They're all important to us.
Yeah.
But we've learned how to quiet all the noise. And 23 is old enough to have, especially for as long as you've been doing it since you're 15, 8 years is like 2-3 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So you're experienced enough to know what you know. You're young enough to maybe think you know more than you do, but you're also young enough to know that you don't know some things.
Sure.
Right? And you still have your whole life ahead of you in like making things.
Which could be a little daunting too.
Yeah.
Because having done so much at a young age, it's like, I don't want to be the like metaphorical like jock that peaked in high school. You know, I always want to do more and to get more and to be more. So it's like, it's a different feeling. Like I think than if I had worked at this for 15 years and then had something versus like having that something come really early and feel like I need to keep one-upping myself.
Yeah, like is it like I look at like, you know who I love?
Who?
West Side Gun.
Yeah. Great example.
right? So he's older, he's mature, like he's I think he's like 40.
He's in his 40s.
Yeah. So, and it's not that he wasn't working that whole time. It's not like I would say he's successful for a long time, like levels of success. But I would say he's the most culturally relevant and important than he's ever been now.
Right now, yeah.
Which is really sweet and cool to me. As a 45-year-old, I look at another guy in my age range and I go like, man, you fucking earned every ounce of your success, your credibility. You took a long road. Not to say you didn't have wins the whole time. That guy works his ass off. And I'm not saying he hasn't had a brilliant career in complete, but to look at the cultural relevance of his music today, I would say it's the most influential, the most relevant than I can remember.
Because you got younger guys trying to jump on that style of beats or rapping or cadences.
I just think it's amazing. And I see those and those stories and I celebrate them. And I know it's probably been a long, hard road. It takes a lot of work. But could you have planned it? I don't know. I think that was his story, and that his likely, because he has so many fans, they're celebrating all the work he did back then, which is just as sweet.
Yeah.
Because he loves those records that he made. That felt like maybe they were overlooked and they didn't get the amount of, I mean, they were cool, but they didn't get the amount of recognition that they deserve. They're getting them now. So it's weird. Like, how do you plan that? Well, you can't manipulate that.
Yeah.
That's the oak tree.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tree you can't shake.
No, it's here. The roots are planted. It ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Like, imagine how calm, and I don't know him at all. Imagine how calm he is in all of it because he's been doing it for so long and at it for so long. I imagine that he's very calm, very cool, and very like stable in who he is.
Yeah.
Because he's not chasing.
No, he's just been him the whole time.
Yeah. Let's think about that. There's a lot of stories like that too.
It makes me think back to what you were saying earlier about, fate, destiny, God's plan. And that's something that I like teeter back and forth on. Like, do I surrender to fate, or do I say, fuck that, I'm gonna get exactly what I want? Or is it fate that I have that mindset of I'm gonna get whatever I want, and that's gonna be the drive that pushes me to get what was meant for me from the jump?
I think it's that. I think that you have to be the person you are. I think that you got to be careful to judge results as good or bad. Like, you got to have a wait and see approach.
Yeah.
The drive when you make the art, that's where that should show up.
Yes.
It shouldn't show up in the judgment of the results.
No, it's in the work.
It's in the work. And then you win some, you lose some. You don't know if it's good or bad. I couldn't tell you that every move we made in our career was good or bad. I don't know. But I'm here right now. I'm alive. I have I feel like I have a rich life.
Yeah.
And what I really discovered about, because I grew up poor, what I discovered about the word rich is it's not necessarily what you have in your bank account.
The quality of your life, right?
It's one measurement,
Yeah.
right? You could say that's a rich guy, but I don't know if he's rich, because I think there's a awareness of like what you actually have, knowing what you have, and actually being able to taste the food you're eating.
I kind of feel like if in this present moment you are happy with where you're at, like literally in this right now, then everything is fine.
Yeah.
All the decisions of the past were what they were meant to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I always want more.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's always going to be that. So that goes into the work.
Yeah.
And then when I go home, I enjoy my home. I enjoy my wife, my kids. I don't look at what other guys have. I don't want their house. I want my house. I don't want their car. I like my car. You know what I mean?
When did you kind of make that transition? Because I'm guessing there probably was a point where you were like, shit, I got a nice car, but
Look at what he got.
Yeah.
My 30s. Took me till my 30s. I was lost a little bit but I think that's all self-esteem. I think that's just self-esteem. I think you grow up poor, you struggle to kind of keep up with everybody. Everything just seems hard.
Yeah.
You're always like $50 short.
Yeah. And the stakes are so much higher too.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get all the success and you suddenly feel valuable, but you're actually you kind of like you're buying into the byproducts of the success is actually achieving is putting your mind to something and achieving it and doing something and then finding the like, can you feel that experience versus like the money you made from it and then all the new friends you get and all the new stuff you get. New stuff is great. New friends are great too sometimes, but they were all byproducts of doing something that was special and honest. And I think it took me years to realize like actually the value of me is me.
Yeah.